Welcome in. Send a quick reminder out to your teams, out to your WhatsApp group messages, wherever you're telling people that we have the amazing Jayne hosting tonight with goal setting. So you don't want your team to miss out on this. It's going to be amazing. Get your notepads ready and scribble away. Don't rely on screenshots and stuff like that. You just want to take as many notes as possible. What's the saying, Jayne, about your pencil?
The sharpest of pencils remembers more than the bluntest of memories.
There we go. See, I
No, the
just don't
bluntest
remember
of pencils
saying.
remembers more than says me writing with my pen. I am writing lots of notes. Oh dear.
Let us know in the chat box where you're listening in from, guys. It's always great to see where you're coming in from. How many of you were at the success day? It was amazing, wasn't it?
Certainly was. Real energy in the room, real buzz.
If
Got
you
one
can
minute.
put your cameras on, put your cameras on because it's always nice to see everybody and keep you on task with your pens and papers. You'll listen more if you're on screen, I always think. But also appreciate sometimes you're in the middle of cooking dinner and what have you. So being here is amazing.
Give us a wave, everybody who's on screen.
I'm fresh from the gym, actually. My New Year's resolution, I'm getting strong. Look at my guns now.
Oh my goodness.
My mindset is so much better, when I exercise, those
Yeah,
endorphins. It's true. Where's Lucy Rodnell? She will back me up when she's always
she's
springing on the
awesome.
stage.
I know. Have you seen her? Have you seen her
Her
physique?
guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've
I'm
just
going to
ordered
get them
my.
like yours, Lucy. I'm sure I've seen you on here somewhere.
Anyway, so I think we'll get started, or do you want to wait another minute?
What time are we on? No, I would get started, Jayne.
Okay,
I will mute myself.
okay. Can I share my? I'll share my screen in a minute. So, great to have you all with us on the first of our slightly differently formatted. What's it called?
Transform Tuesday.
Oh
You're
God,
going to
that's a great.
transform yourselves, guys. Listening in on Tuesday, it's all about tips to put into your business to move you forward. Every week will be different. And it's the amazing Jayne Leach with goal setting this week.
Yeah, and we are going to be doing it a slightly different format in that we're going to spend the first maybe 10-15 minutes recognizing people that have had a really good week the week before. Then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the coaching session. And tonight it's just going to be me, but we are going to, over the week, split that up to have two people come and share best practice with you. Because that's what this is about. It's about learning quickly from those people who are doing it so you can then pick up and go and put into practice what you're learning. And it's always best to learn from people that are at the coalface doing the do and have got the best advice that they can share with you. And then we'll always end the session with some Q&A. And there's leaders on here that can answer questions as we begin to grow and develop this. I know it's going to get really big, but it's really excited to be starting this tonight. So, first of all, I know that Nat and her team have been running this Transform Tuesday for a little while on her platform. So, thanks to Nat for opening it up to all of us so we can all work closer as a team and, team together, everybody achieves more. So, really good to see you all online. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and no I'm not, we're going to do some recognitions first, aren't we? So, in that this is the first week of recognition and a lot of you didn't know we were going to do this, you won't have fed forward people that you want us to give a shout out to tonight. So in future, anybody on these calls, if you've got somebody in your team that you feel needs recognising for the week, i.e. Tuesday to Tuesday, Monday to Monday, get in touch with myself or Tina or Nat and just say, this is the person, this is why I think they need recognising, this is what they've done. Because we want to give a shout out to you guys. We want to shout out to you guys that are, you know, stepping up, taking control of your businesses, doing your 4Case credits, recruiting, coming to events, maybe doing something that's taken you out of your comfort zone. But we just want to give you a big shout out for that. So, you know, please do let us know who you want to be recognised. So I'm going to do some recognitions tonight that kind of stood out to me over the last week. And what these ladies have done in what they achieved last week was based on the work they did over the last few weeks. So I want to give a big shout out to Jayne, who has recruited 2 people last week, 2 new assistant supervisors. I think one was last week and one was just yesterday or on Sunday. And that would be Rushi and Bindu. So welcome to you. I think I've just seen Bindu on the call, so that's good. I want to say well done to Lorraine. She's recruited 2 new people this month so far. That's Marie and Milena, and I can't see them. There's too many of you, but I think they're on the call as well. And also want to welcome Diane, who I recruited. So I recruited her last week, so she should be on the call tonight. And also Yvonne for recruiting Shazad. Now Shazad, literally at the last moment of Yvonne talking to him, decided to get in his car and come up to the Success Day. And the Success Day blew him away. In fact, he sent a lovely message to me saying it's one of the most incredible events he's ever been to, with some of the nicest people he's ever met. Now there is a message there, and that is the events help you build your business. The events with the energy, the passion, the speakers, the content, the recognition, you know, the trainers, all of that is social proof and endorsement that forever works. So one of the things that we want to really focus on is getting you understanding how to use events to build your business. We've got a shout out to Marjorie in Canada who made supervisor. Well done, Marjorie. Also a big shout out to Lorraine, who did supervisor in December and was recognised on Saturday. I can see lots of people now putting things into the chat box, which is great. Anyway, just a big shout out to all of you. And going forward, if you get your people in to us in time, we will give them the recognition they deserve for a job well done or for becoming part of the Forever family. So well done to all of you. So I'm just going to share my screen now.
Just very quickly, Jayne, I've got a couple of people to recognise as well.
Sure.
One of them is Steph Mercer for being the amazing MC. I've seen her on here. She was incredible. Thank you, Steph, for keeping everyone upbeat. And also to Mariam, Aisha, and Samaya, who are all in my team in London, and they came with 7 team members that were all totally blown away. So it's so true what Jayne says, you know, as a leader, promoting the event and getting your team there gets the energy there. A big shout out to Christine Wilson, who did her 6th-month 5cc, but sadly couldn't make it to the Success Day. And she does it all pretty much through retail, doing market stalls. So big up to you, Christine. Also to Charlie, who this week has been making calls, getting out of a comfort zone and getting results. And she messages me several times with, how do I answer this? What do I say to that? So everybody listening, when you need help with those, reach out to your uplines, because we're here to help you perfect your message, because that's how you learn. So asking us isn't bothering us. We want to hear from you to help you get it right. And then big up to Tina with the red hair. She's looking at the screen now because she's totally upped her game as a manager, been recruiting and is literally filling her pipeline. And sometimes, you know, coming back to recruiting is as painful as the day that you started. So well done to you, Tina. Now I'm going to be quiet and hand back over to our amazing goal setting.
And just a big shout out to Chrissy Grant, who on Saturday night after Success Day finished her qualification to go on the Greek trip to Athens. So big shout out to Chrissy. I'm not certain if she's on tonight, but yeah, big shout out there as well. You know, there's so many shout outs that we could give, but for us it's so important that we mention your name, we give you that mention, because, you know, we all know what it's like getting your business up and running, finding your customers, recruiting team members. We all know what it's like, and it's nice to know that even if you don't think we're watching you, we most certainly are. So I want to talk to you tonight about goal setting, and I'm very, very passionate about this. I'm passionate about it because I didn't do it properly when I first started out in Forever, and it cost me greatly. When I mean it cost me because I lost valuable time not understanding the power of goal setting. And so it's really important that we kind of dig deep into this tonight, because I think it's kind of key to your success. But so many people, when they first start out in Forever, or existing leaders or people that are, you know, on their way to manager, they just don't give goal setting the respect it deserves, or they do it half-heartedly, and then they wonder why they don't get the results that they're looking for. So for me, I had a massive light bulb moment in quite a surreal way, actually, because when I first started in Forever, we didn't have any of this. It was a flip chart and a box of products, and my sponsor lived about 5 hours away from me, and bottom line was he'd only joined the business a few weeks before me anyway, but he said that he would come over and work with me, and I was really impressed by that. I thought, well, if he's coming to work with me, that's brilliant. And he set me a whole load of tasks to do in preparation for him giving up a day of his time to come and help me. And I don't know why, but maybe fear, maybe procrastination, maybe not really understanding what I should be doing. But when he arrived after driving for 5 hours, I wasn't prepared for him. I hadn't arranged any one-to-ones. I hadn't arranged anybody to come and look at the product. Nothing. And I remember him being very irritated when he heard my excuses. And I said, well, I've been too busy to speak to anybody. I've been too busy to arrange anyone to come and see you. I've got the kids to look after. I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other. How many of you make all those excuses? We all do. If we're honest, you make those excuses. But the thing is, they're going to hold you back. He was so frustrated. So he picked up his folder and he said, right, he said, well, at least we can go through your goals. Did you set your goals? And I said to him, I don't need to write them down. I don't need to do anything with them. I know exactly what I want. It's all in my head. And in that moment, he closed his notebook, and he stood up and he said, you're not serious about the business, and I thought you had potential. And he left. And I will never forget that moment of absolute rage at him going upstairs, crying and looking in the mirror, and then it hit me. If it was to be, it's up to me. And if I can't even prepare work and do the tasks that are being asked of me from an upline who wants to help me, then what kind of future have I got? And it was in that moment that I decided it was time to take responsibility for creating, designing, being the architect of my own life. Because no one else can do it for you. This is your role. Once you've done it, we can sit down with you and we can help facilitate everything that needs to be done in order for you to move forward. But really, bottom line is, you have to take responsibility for setting goals. And goal setting is so powerful when you really take the time to do it properly. Turn off all distractions, turn off social media, turn off the television, put the kids to bed. Get yourself a drink, a glass of wine, a cup of tea, whatever is your tipple, and focus. Focus on your goals, because what most people do is they focus on what they don't want rather than what they want. That's what they focus on. And here is the thing, the mind is a very powerful, powerful muscle. And whatever you put into here, into your brain, into your head, that's what it's going to show up for. And if you're talking about, well, I don't want to be broke, you know, I don't want to work in my job anymore, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, that's what it's going to focus on. So you have got to be focused on what you do want. And this is what people struggle with a lot. They don't even know how to start. So you could start by taking a blank piece of paper and just writing one word in the centre of that piece of paper. If you're struggling to focus on what you do, and you could just put the word happiness. Put a big circle around it, and then all around the word happiness, write down, what does that mean to you? What does happiness look like to you? What does it feel like? What makes you happy? And this is where we stop letting go of the things that we don't want, and we start working and looking forward to the things that we do want. So what I'm thinking about here, what I want to share with you is, I have learned over the years that desire for a goal is essential, and it must be intense. It must be a deep down burning desire for whatever your particular goal is. But you have to ask yourself, what do you really want in your life? What in your heart of hearts do you really want? And two things spring to mind here. The brand new FBO doesn't really know how to start this process. And the existing FBO, who maybe has not achieved a goal, sets their heart desire based on a goal they've not achieved before, which means very often they can set themselves up for failure. And often we have to repackage goals to make them look and feel different, so we have a different approach to achieving them. And for some of you, you may think, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, I'll give you an example. You know, somebody who consistently writes down, I want to be a manager. I want to be a manager. But every single month they're not a manager. And every month they're writing down a manager. So there's no congruency there. They're failing at not being a manager, but they're writing down, I want to be a manager. So we have to repackage that and create a new narrative based on how can we look at getting to manager in a very different way. So we could say, rather than I want to be a manager, we could say, over the next 6 months, I am going to do 5, then 10, then 20, then 35, then 45, then 50 cases. Because when you look at it that way, that is a manager business, but we're not focusing on manager, which you have not achieved over the last 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 months. We're focusing on case credits and looking at how to do that. So we're reprogramming. So your desire needs to be based on something that is truly heartfelt for you. And it needs to be a goal that you are prepared to put 100% of your energy into. No excuses. Now, what I mean by that is, you don't have to be full-time and forever. If you've got 5 hours a week, we work those 5 hours. You put 100% of your energy into those 5 hours. If you've got 10 hours of the week, we put 100% energy into the 10 hours, because to me that's non-negotiable. You can't think your way or dream your way to achieve a goal. Now for me, when I first started, when I finally got the power of goal setting, after that horrible moment when Chris walked out on me and left me sobbing in the bathroom, that was when I realised this is nothing to do with him, it's about me. I really honed in on my goal. And my goal in that moment, when I set my heartfelt, passionate desire, was to educate my 2 boys privately. And so it went from a wish, from a dream, to becoming a heartfelt desire. And what happens when it becomes a heartfelt desire is you begin to commit it to paper. You begin to commit it to visual images. And you also put yourself into a position of wanting to experience the goal. So what I mean by that was, I suddenly had to go beyond, I want my boys in private school. Which school? Where was it? What was it going to cost me? How much was the uniform? How much were the school trips? Every single thing to do about that goal, I had to write down. And then what I had to do was go to the school. And I'm telling you now, it was the moment that I went to the school that made the goal, the desire, the dream real. And I'll share with you a little bit later on as to why actually putting myself into the goal made it real. So for example, if your desire is to move house, you need to go and see some homes that you want to buy, that you want to live in. If it's a new car, go and test drive, sit in the car. If it's to leave your job and maybe only do 3 days work a week, take some time out, ask for a couple of days leave and see what a week would look like when you only work 3 days in a job and 2 days on your forever business. You have to step into seeing, feeling, experiencing what that goal might look like. And then in order to move forward, you have to believe that your goal is achievable. Now, you will never set a goal and achieve it if you don't believe it. You have to believe at some point on your journey that your goal is achievable. Because nothing changes in your life unless you begin to embrace change. When I first joined Forever, I was so broke, I was living day to day. I was living in a horrible rented house that should have been condemned. I was a single mum with 2 little boys. I was living a life of quiet desperation. Now, I could either get bogged down in that, which I did for 18 months, or I can have a paradigm shift one day and say, if I don't change, nothing changes. Remember, your life is your life. No one's going to come and knock on your door and change it for you. Somebody knocked on your door and offered you the opportunity with Forever. That should have been your sign to embrace change. So, what we have to go through is working on ourselves. Because when we think about a goal and we think it's not achievable, one of the very things we do is we base our potential to achieve based on our past history. Now let me put that into context. Something I had to do was to start believing in me. And I had to start believing in me because at the time that I started embracing goal setting, I had gone through a very nasty divorce. I'd had 10 years of mental cruelty. So I had no belief in me. I had no confidence. I know you probably find that hard listening to me now, but I had no confidence. I didn't believe in me. I bought into the fact that someone had told me I was useless, worthless for 10 years, and that's how I felt. So if you are trying to set a goal and you have a lot of baggage from the past, then you've got to deal with the baggage. You've got to deal with the weight on your shoulders of past experiences, history, things that you've been through, tough times, and you've got to make your peace with them. Because the reality is, we can't influence the past, none of us. But what we can do is make our peace with it, lock the door on it, shut the door on it, and we can move forward and say, hey, I am good enough. I am good enough and I can build on this. So day by day, week by week, month by month, as you plug into events, as you plug into the trainings, as you work with your upline, as you begin to become familiar with the concept of what we do, as you begin to have your small wins, you will begin to believe in yourself. But don't let that take too long. Start doing that right now. And you need to have a daily mantra. You need to have a mantra, something that you can say in your head, see it on your phone, see it on your notice board, have it on your computer, but you need to feed yourself positive daily affirmations. You know, for me, I used to say, I am a successful leader. I am destined to be a big success in my life going forward. So that meant I'd let go of the past. You know, and the other thing that you need to do is act as if. When I say act as if, you need to build your confidence. You know, people are going to ask you, how are you doing? And, you know, what have you achieved? And so often I see FBOs, when they're asked this question, make excuses for what they haven't achieved rather than say with passion what they've learnt and where they're at. You know, oh, I'm doing okay. I haven't hit my goal. I haven't got to manager yet, but I'm doing okay. That is not being confident. If somebody asks you how you're getting on, tell them, I love what I'm doing. I'm on track to achieve my goals. I work with an amazing group of people. I feel empowered. I feel that I am worthy. I've got some phenomenal customers. I'm building a great team. Just speaking like that empowers you and empowers the people that are communicating with you. So you have to believe your goal is achievable, and that comes from starting to believe in you. Now, once we get to this point, writing down your goals, this is where I think it is really exciting, but equally can be a bit daunting as well. A goal that is not written down is not a goal at all. And anyone who has succeeded in this business has succeeded from writing down clear, specific, detailed goals. And then they review them every single week, every month, and they adjust their plan in order to stay on track. And I want to share a story with you about a young lady who came to see me when she was a junior manager, probably just doing about 25, 30 case credits a month. And she came to me and said, could you have a goal planning session? And I said to you, you can, but you need to write down your goals. And she said, I haven't written down any goals. And I said, you need to come to me with your goals written down. We'll put a plan together and then we'll work that plan hard, no excuses, until we get to where you want to get to. She came to sit with me. She didn't just have a goal. She had about 50 goals written on a piece of paper. They were all over the place. Now, clearly the mind can't focus on all of that. Remember, the mind focuses on a specific. And I remember taking some time with her to pull out just 4 goals that were really, really important. And we put those goals into a plan, and then we started to action the plan. And I remember during the process of doing the activity and monitoring the results and going through the frustrations and saying it will never work and it's not happening and this isn't happening and I don't like you and all the moaning and whinging, but she did the work. She did the work regardless. And it didn't take her a year to achieve her goals. It took her 10 months. And she didn't make 2,000 a month, she made 4,000 a month. And she didn't hit car plan level 1, she hit car plan level 2. And she wasn't just a manager, she was on the way to soaring manager. And that's Natalie. And I remember it as if it were yesterday, having that meeting. So if you think what I'm saying is all theoretical, I tell you, what I teach is what I practice. And I can promise you, even if you can't even read your own writing properly, even if the spelling is not great, you need to write down your goals. It is very, very important. Just let your mind run. I don't mind if you've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, but out of those goals, we're going to pinpoint just maybe 2 or 3 or 4 that are important, and then you put a plan together to help you achieve them. And then from there, once you've done that, you've got to determine the starting point. Because once you have a goal, you've got to say, okay, where do I start? Because the starting point is where it all begins. And this for me is exciting. It can be a brand new FBO who's literally just started. So all the brand new FBOs that have joined in the last few weeks, this is such an exciting time for you. This can be you quite literally looking at your first 2 or 3 goals, and we put a plan together and we say off we go. Or it can be any of you sitting on this call tonight who maybe feel a bit stuck or a bit, maybe things aren't going your way. This can be a fresh approach for you. This can be a line in the sand, and it can be a fresh start, because you have that choice. Every single day, every week, every month, if you're not where you want to be, you can put line in the sand. Let's get back to basics and let's get restarted. So remember, when we determine the starting point, we're not looking back. We are looking very firmly forward. We're not basing our future on our past. We are basing our future on what we want, what is heartfelt, and what we have to do in order to get started. So knowing what I know now, one of the things that I would say is today, if I was to do anything differently, I know that I would be very much more detailed in my goal setting, and I'd be far more strategic in the plans that I set myself, and I would eliminate procrastination. And I would also manage my fear better. In the early days, I used to fear rejection a lot. And so my starting point sometimes could be, oh, I'll start next week. I'll just work on myself a little bit more. Oh, it's not been a great month, I'll start next month. No, we start tonight. You have a brand new day tomorrow, tonight at midnight, a brand new 24 hours. You don't wait, the clock is ticking. Let me tell you, time, the most valuable asset you have got. You can't buy anymore, we can't create anymore. And if you don't use it wisely, you have lost it. So please look at what you want going forward, not what you want based on what you haven't achieved in the past. And then really think why you want your goal. What is it that you want, but why do you want it? It's interesting, isn't it? I think we all go through stages. I know I have. I'm a bit older than a lot of you on this call. But when we first join Forever, we need money. All of us need money. Let's not beat around the bush. We need money. Whatever we need that money for, that's peculiar to each and every one of us. I needed money because I hadn't got any. You might need money because you want to step back from working full time. Somebody else might need it because you want to pay off some debt. You might need money because you're struggling with the cost of living and the rise in all the bills. You might need money because you want to book a holiday. But whatever we put on our list of goals, whatever it is that we want to achieve, we need money to achieve it. So it's really important that we don't get put off by this thought of money. But it's really interesting. When you first start, you want money. Then you want quite a lot of it because you want to get your house in order. And you want to get your debt paid off, your bills paid. You don't want to have to worry about when a bill comes in. You want to have that financial stability. And then when you've got extra money, for the first time, you become a bit frivolous with it. You're driven by the labels, the handbags, the shoes, the glitz and the glam, the watches, the things that you think are going to make you happy. And for a short time, maybe they do. But let me assure you that the mind is like a dopamine hit. You get a new handbag, it's got Louis Vuitton written on it, or Prada, or Christian Dior, whatever your thing is. And in that moment, it's exciting. But a week later, it's lost its shiny appeal. So I truly believe that your goals need to be more in alignment with an authentic life. And it's goals that are going to bring you happiness and create memories that will be around for a long time, not just a short-term fix. So trust me, I've had all the bling, had all the nice things. They're great, but that's not exactly what makes me happy. It's not really what I want to own anymore. It's time, it's friends, it's family, it's travel, it's freedom. It's living life on my terms. It's not having to ask anybody if I can do anything. It's stability. It's being with the people I want to be with. So think about what you really, really want, why you really, really want to have that goal. And ask yourself, is it really creating that heart and mind excitement that when it comes together, everything is possible? I set myself a goal of building a house. That was one of my long-term goals, because when I started goal setting, I didn't even have my own house. It was horrible. Living in a rented house, it was just not acceptable. And I've always had this dream to live in a farmhouse, and I always knew exactly what it would look like ever since I was a little girl, because I used to go to my granddad's farm and I used to just want to have a farm like his. And the detail in what you want is really, really important, and also keeps you focused. So, you know, if you are thinking about education for the kids, which school, what's the uniform, what's this, what's that, it's the detail. If you're thinking about a new car, it's not just a car. Where is the car? What is it? What colour leather? What size engine? What colour is the car? Does it have a sound system? Is it electric? Is it hybrid? Is it petrol? Is it diesel? Where's the car going to take you? Why do you really want it? So think about this, because all of these components come together to make you unstoppable in your quest to achieve a goal once you create your ideal future. And then you've got to set your deadlines. Now, we all have to work towards deadlines. You can't stroll to a goal. You can't just say, this is what I want, but I don't know when I want it. There are certain deadlines that we have to set ourselves, because that helps us measure and hold ourselves accountable. So for me, I like to work my goals in 90-day chunks. That's 3-month cycles. So I always look at what I want to achieve at the end of the year. I then bring it forward to where I am today and break it down into 90 days, and then into 30, 31 days the month, and then into weekly activity. Because that way I can hold myself accountable, I can measure it, manage it, and also not be racked with guilt every day when I think I haven't done enough. How many of you have this feeling on a daily basis, and you put yourself on a big guilt trip, that you always feel that you've not done enough, and therefore you're always thinking about forever living all the time? And if you then go and do something with the kids, or you go and do something for you, or you pop for a coffee, you feel guilty for doing it. Now here's the thing, if you have a deadline, and if you set yourself your targets, and you've got a plan, and you've got complete clarity on what you've got to do every day, and if you've got that job done, and you want to go and have a coffee, go and have a coffee, because you've done what you've said you were going to do in forever. So, for example, if you've done your 5 calls, and suddenly a friend rings up and says, let's go and have a coffee, go have a coffee, you've done your 5 calls. You don't need to feel guilty. If you've done your planning meetings, booked your launch, done your follow-up calls for your customers, invited your people to BPs, you've done what you need to do. Don't beat yourself up. Just stay on track. Stay on track for your goals, because one of the things that's amazing about goals is if you have a tough month, it doesn't matter. You don't give up on everything. You just realign your goals for the next month, reset your sail, and off you go. That's the way that it works, and it's so beautiful to be able to build a business like that. But here's what I notice a lot with people who are inexperienced or don't understand the long game. They set themselves a goal, they have 2 or 3 months of really good activity, and then they self-sabotage in the month that doesn't go to plan. And in self-sabotaging, they put their whole business back by about 6, 8, 12 weeks, because they go into that poor little old me syndrome. Everything's going wrong, can't achieve my goals, therefore I'll stop doing the activity. No. If you've had a tough month, we review the month, we look at what you did, big pat on the back, we look at what didn't bear fruition, we readjust that, and off we go again. This is about being consistent and persistent as we strive to achieve the things that are important to us. And the other reason that we need to set a deadline and set a target is because you can't hit a target that you can't see. So if you don't know what you are looking to achieve in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, how do you know where you're going? It's a bit like getting into an aeroplane and the pilot comes on the tannoy and says, right, everybody, sit back and relax. We'll take off in a minute. We'll fly around a little bit. Don't know where I'm going to fly today. Haven't really thought about that. We might head over the Irish Sea and fly over Ireland. We might head over and fly over towards Turkey and the Middle East. Don't know, but just sit back and relax. Let's see where we go. How would you feel if that happened to you? You wouldn't feel very confident in your pilot. Well, you are the pilot of your destiny. So what narrative are you saying to yourself every single day? Oh, I'll do a bit of this and a bit of that, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't, no problem. You see, it's about being very focused on the tasks that you need to do in order to achieve the goals that you need to achieve. So think about how many people a day you're going to speak to. Think about how many launches you're going to do in a month. Think about how many new customers you want to create in a month. Think about which BPs you're going on to and how many guests you want on there. It's very simple. There's only a handful of activities we do. We just need to master them, perfect them, because this will help us achieve our goals. And the other thing that you've got to do is identify any potential obstacles. And for me, in my view, my obstacles were fear and doubt. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of other people's opinions on what I was doing, fear of lack of knowledge, and, fear in a little way, fear of being successful as well. And these were my potential obstacles. And very often we think things are impossible. But if you take the I am off impossible, you're left with the word possible, which means everything is possible if you eliminate obstacles that are in your way. So ask yourself, what stops you doing what you know you need to do every single day? What is it that stops you? You see, because honesty is the first step to success. When you're honest with yourself, your own shortcomings, you can address them. You can create new habits and take those new habits forward with you and leave your bad habits in the past. So work on the things that may be holding you back and make sure that you recognize them so they don't stop you achieving what matters most to you and having the most amazing 2026. And then you need to identify what you need to learn, because we are in a profession, and I'm proud to say that I am a professional network marketer. That's what I am. When people say, what do? I tell them I'm a professional network marketer. I help people every day enjoy better health, and I help people every day earn an income that will help them live the life that they want on their terms, rather than being at the beck and call of a boss. And I'm proud of what I do. But I've had to be the student. And I am still today, 30 odd years on, the student, because we live in a fast-paced, moving world. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to answer the most commonly asked questions. Learn how to invite. Learn how to show the products. But also learn how to tell people, if you don't know, if someone asks you a question about the products, learn how to say, Charlie, that's a great question. And clearly it's important to you, but right now I don't know the answer, but I come back to you in 24 hours with an answer. Is that okay? And people go, yeah, that's fine. But you've got to learn how to respond rather than panicking like a rabbit in the headlights. It literally is 1 year of hard work, 1 year of embracing these concepts, and you will be a professional networker. You'll be able to change not only your life, but the lives of people that have the privilege of working with you. You see, another thing is, how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? So, you can get lucky or you can get rich. I don't want to get lucky. I want to design my life. I want to learn what I need to learn. I want to apply the skills, even if I get them wrong, which I did for a long time, because eventually I'll get them right and then I'll be really comfortable at building a business. It took me 10 months to finally understand the concept of network marketing, but I'd gone to manager in that 10 months. I was ignorance on fire, but once the penny dropped how simple this business is, it was like, hallelujah, the lights have come on. So take it seriously and practice, practice, practice. You know, if you've got a friend who doesn't want to get involved in forever, just say, hey, it may not be for you, but you're a dear friend. I value our friendship. Can I practice on you? Can I practice explaining the marketing model? Can I practice showing the products? Can I practice doing a one-on-one? Can I practice inviting you to a BP? Practice, practice, practice. I used to literally, my kids couldn't have their pocket money until I practiced on them. My youngest son, Marcus, at the age of 8, could explain the marketing plan in great detail to you because I practiced on him all the time. Who are you practicing on to learn to become a professional networker? And then what you need to do is you need to identify the people who are going to help and support you. Now, sadly, we live in a world where most people want to pull us down. It's a funny old culture in the UK. People don't celebrate success, they celebrate failure. And you probably, all of you will have experienced this already at the start of your journey when people have said to you, oh, you're not doing that thing, are you? Oh no, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You're doing that network marketing. Isn't it this? Isn't it that? They've all got opinions based on nothing. No experience, no knowledge, no success, but they're going to tell you why you should not do it. And interestingly, if we're not careful, we will listen to these neg ferrets and we will allow them to steal our dream. I want to challenge your thinking on this because I know that one of my friends nearly talked me out of the business. And I will never forget it. It was a pivotal moment where I very nearly walked away from forever. You see, she had the life I wanted. She had the beautiful farm. She had the lovely cars. She had her kids in private school. She had everything that I was dreaming and working towards and planning to achieve. And I remember going to see her and saying, can I come and show you what I'm doing, Fern? She said, yeah, come round. So I went round and showed her what I was doing. To my face, she was as nice as anything. She said, leave the brochure, that she and her husband would go through the products and place an order and come back to me in a couple of days. Next day, I took my kids to the school they were going to. Her boy got on the school bus to go to the private school. And when I came back to the village, I stopped to pick up some milk. And as I went into the shop, our other friend, Janet, who owned the shop, said to me, what have you done to upset Fern? I said, what do you mean? She said, oh, she's been in the shop this morning and already told us not to speak to you. You're involved in something weird and strange. I was devastated. My fear kicked in, my doubt kicked in. All of those limiting beliefs kicked in. And I remember going home and I remember John coming in from work that night and I was sobbing and he said, what's the matter? I said, I think Fern's right, I shouldn't be doing this. And he sat down with me and I'll never forget it and he gave me a good stern talking to. And he told me to pull myself together because Fern wasn't going to pay for my school fees. Fern wasn't going to give me the house of my dreams. Fern wasn't going to put a nice new car on my drive. Fern wasn't going to pay off my debt. So why am I listening to her opinions? And I was so close to walking away from forever. So I want to really ask you to think about who you are talking to for your help and your support, and which relationships matter to you on your journey to achieving what's important to you. And sometimes we have to accept that in the quest for our happiness, the quest to achieve what we want for us and our loved ones, Sometimes we have to disengage with a few people. I disengaged from a few people on my journey in the early days. And you know what? I look at my journey and where I am today, and I look at where they are, and nothing much in their life has changed. And I wish I could instill in you how fortunate you are to be involved in this amazing company called Forever. So think about who you're hanging out with. Think about who's uplifting you, empowering you, supporting you. Who's a customer for you. They don't have to join your business. My best friend doesn't want to join the business, but she supports me with products. Always championing me, asking me how I'm doing. She's an incredible, successful businesswoman, giving me ideas, making me think bigger. You should be around those people that feed you, nourish you, support you, and uplift you. Do not be around people that want to pull you down. Because if you're around those people and you quit, do you know what they'll say to you? "Oh, I told you so. Told you it wouldn't work. Come on to my side. Let's all be miserable and broke together." Because that's the bottom line. And that's why we create these communities, because we want you to be successful. We want to empower you. We want to hold you up, to celebrate your wins. We want to see you step into your potential. So, going on from there, you need to make a plan. And making a plan is really, really important. You need to make a plan, and then you need to get back to your upline, and you need to sit down and you need to pull the plan together. First of all, identify the position on the marketing plan that is going to help you achieve one of the goals that makes you happy. So right now, for example, you could say, I need 500 a month to take the pressure off the bills. I can breathe, and then I can focus on the bigger things. So you take a piece of paper, you put the £500 in on one side, then on the other side you say, right, what have we got to do to achieve that? We need a good customer base of at least 20 customers. We need to be a supervisor with at least 3 good people in our team. We need to understand how to prospect. We need to understand how to invite. We need to understand how to follow up and how to recruit. Then with our upline manager or upline sponsor, we need to know how to sit down and make a plan with our brand new team member. We need to know how and why we need to attend trainings, and basically that is it. You don't need to overcomplicate it any more than that. You need to fit that plan into the time that you have allocated to building a business, and then you need to go to work. And when I say go to work, you need to literally every day write down what you have, tick off what you have done against the goal you set yourself for your daily task, and determine priority. I used to be very good at procrastinating, doing everything other than doing what needed to be done. Do what needs to be done as a priority, then everything else can be done afterwards. And there's another thing that I want you to guard yourself against, and that's being busy in your head, but not physically being busy. In other words, you're thinking it to death rather than doing it. Any of you fallen into that trap? Where you literally think, right, I'll just take the kids to school, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to start doing my calls. And then when you get home, you do some cleaning, you do some washing, you put some drying on, you think, right, I must do some calls. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. I'll just have a quick cup of coffee, and I'll tell you what, I'll just doom scroll on my mobile phone. Before you know it, it's 12:30. Oh, I'll just have a bit of lunch now, and then after lunch, I'm going to do my calls and my follow-ups before the kids come home. Busy, busy, busy. Oh my goodness, time to go and do the first school run. And off you go to do the first school run, and guess what? When you get back, it's time with the kids. You think once the kids have been fed and they've had their bedtime story, I'll make my calls. And at 9 o'clock at night, you're exhausted in your head, but you've not done anything. How many of you fall into that trap? Thinking it to death rather than doing it to death. So, I want you to, as I put it all together, visualize your goals continuously. You know, I have created this ability Initially, I used to shut my eyes and visualize my goals. But I can have my eyes wide open and still I can see what I'm working towards. So be able to visualize your goals. And that means once you have written down what you want, the next stage is to put it into visual images. And we'll go through that on another call. So I just want to share something with you as I finish. I don't want to overdo the night, but I want to share something with you. That is a really easy way to start the process of this goal setting. And that's take a piece of paper. Some of you might have seen this on Instagram when I did it on Instagram. Take a piece of paper and put it into 4 quarters. And in these 4 quarters, you put want, do, have, and become. It's a great way to start your goal setting. So, in the want section, what do you want? And this has to be what makes your heart happy. And you need to just write what you want. What do you want? Hey Jess, I've just seen you all the way from South France. What is it that you want? And put it in the want box. Then what is it that you have to do to get what you want? So this is where maybe you'll put down what you think you've got to do and then you can go through it with your sponsor. Then what do you want to have? This is tangible. So this could be an extra 400 to 500 a month. It could be have more time with the family. It could be that you want 5 new customers every month. It could be that you want to recruit 5 people a month. These are things that you're going to have, that you're going to have as a result of building your business. And then what do you want to become? This one's really important because this embraces who you have to become in order for the want, the do, and the have to become real, tangible. Okay? And for me, when I did what do I want to become, one of the biggest things I wrote is I want to be a good communicator. And I think all of you should really embrace communication. The ability to talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place, ever again, no matter where you are, no matter what the situation. Because when you can master the art of conversation and chatting to people and answering questions and being comfortable, casual and relaxed, this is a piece of cake. So don't just sit on your mobile phone all day, every day. Think about conversations as well as just messages. Because if suddenly tomorrow Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn all close down, the one thing we all have is the ability to talk. And when we can talk to people from the heart with authenticity, with an energy and a passion in our voice, you watch how people are drawn to you far, far quicker than just sending endless text messages. So I hope that that's made a little bit of an impact on you and maybe help you think about how you're going to pull together your goals and the things that matter to you. I believe this is the start of the journey because once you know what you want, all the stuff we're going to teach you over the next few weeks and months all make sense because they all help you achieve your goal. And once you know what you want, then you'll know what you need to learn in order to achieve it. So if anybody's got any questions, quickly pop them in the chat box now. And I'll happily answer any questions that you've got. But if you haven't got any questions, embrace this exercise. Write down your goals. Maybe have a fresh view on the way that you write them and get them out of here onto paper. And then share them. Share them with your upline. Let somebody get excited with you about your goals. Make sure your plan is tight and that you're on point, you haven't forgotten anything, and then let's go to work. Because I promise you, together as a team, we're not only going to change your lives going forward, but we're going to change the lives of the people that maybe you haven't even met or spoken to yet. And that is the joy of our business. So I've taken 45 minutes, which is what we set out to do. I'll hand over to Natalie in case she's got anything to say. But it's been a pleasure sharing my time with you. And I hope all of you have learned something. Quickly pop in the chat box what it is that you've learned, what resonated with you. and I expect to see some amazing goal sheets over the next few weeks and months.
Nothing to add other than to say thank you. Absolutely fabulous. And I sent you that I wrote down exactly what you said in my little quadrant on
Excellent.
the first thing.
There you go.
So when you said it, made me smile because those are the things that are important to me, not the things that I thought at the beginning, which was
Yeah,
the Porsche, the Range Rover, the Louis
yeah,
Vuitton. Although I have those things, that's
yeah.
not important. But it was great along the way.
It is
So thank
great
you
along the
guys.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah, dig
exactly. Great
deeper.
along the way, and to know that you can do that, but you realize it's much more than happiness, kids, memories, time, holidays that make me so motivated to keep on doing what I'm doing and to help other people do the same.
People have got
So
some
well done,
great
guys. It would be great to see your goals as well. If you share them with your within your groups, it'd be brilliant to see.
There's some great takeaways as well. Stop thinking it to death and start doing it to death. Absolutely. Yeah. No one is coming to save you. That is so true, Cecilia. No one's coming to save you. We've given you the opportunity that will save you. We are coaching you and mentoring you to save you. You just got to step into the arena and come on the journey with us. So, bang on 9 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. We'll have the recording out very soon, and it's going to be an amazing year.